Hello, and thank you for clicking on the link to listen to this audio-video overview of the full-time position opportunity for Field Supervisor with LG-OSS. Now, this is only for pre-qualified candidates who are being considered for Field Supervisor. So if you're getting this in the form of a link, it's because you're already part of the way through the process. We've already looked at your resume. Either we found you online or you applied for a position and you've been considered qualified with some minimal capabilities, and we're interested in getting more information from you. So our goal right now with this is to give you as much information as you need to help you make an informed decision. That way you can decide if you want to move forward in the process. And we've done it this way to make it easy for you to access the information, because otherwise we would have to schedule a conversation with you, and that could take days to get on your calendar and juggling our recruiters' schedules. So because this is time sensitive, this is the best way for us to get you information, and then we're going to give you a way to give us back some additional information as well. So we're going to talk about specifically the Field Supervisor full-time opportunity. It is a supervisory job over a geography with multiple locations. And right now we have multiple opportunities throughout the United States. However, all the positions are virtually identical. They just differ geographically. And we'll talk about your specific geography in a little bit. So all the details you're going to hear in this audio video are a complement to what you see on the web and what you can download. There's some additional information here that you're not going to find elsewhere. So I just encourage you to listen to this before you go to the next step. And then again, later we'll talk about some specific locations and some variations. But these are full-time jobs. This isn't working for a staffing company or a third party. This isn't contractor work. This is a full-time job with benefits. Now, one thing that I can tell you is that the schedule for the position may vary a little bit based on operational needs, but for the most part, we know that hours are pretty much early morning to mid-afternoon, but they can sometimes extend into the evening, occasionally work on weekends, maybe holiday, or if somebody doesn't show up, you might have to jump in to help with something. But honestly, the expected shift is a Monday through Friday opportunity from early in the morning, like 6 a.m. to mid-afternoon, like 3 o'clock. And we'll, again, talk about that in a little bit more detail. Now, what you're seeing here is not traditional. Like I just described, we have a very different process. We want to screen you in. We're not trying to screen you out. We want you to be considered for the role if this is a good fit for you. And this way you can now respond to us after listening to this based on your schedule. We're going to give you a lot of information here. Okay, so I'm going to go quick. And again, this is in addition to everything else you're going to read. You've already passed some initial screening, so we're now putting our best foot forward and giving you the good, the bad, the ugly, so that you can make a good decision. And you can listen to this multiple times, and when you respond, you're going to fill out a questionnaire. You can think about that and give us very thoughtful responses. And you want to do that because we read those things. And honestly, they're in many ways more important than a resume, because we're asking you very specific questions and we're looking for certain information to help us determine, how you fit in and what to do with next steps. So what makes the ideal candidate and what are we looking for? Well, if you are in a similar job, but maybe you're part-time, or maybe you're seasonal, maybe you've been working at a warehouse, maybe you've been a team lead or a supervisor, maybe you're working for a company that's downsizing, and you're looking to transition to something either full-time or something more stable, okay, we got you covered. If you are in a dead-end job and there's just no opportunity for advancement or growth, okay, that's not good either. We got you covered there as well. If you are working in a really nasty environment, maybe it's not professional, or you're working for a company that's got some challenges, you're going to find this a breath of fresh air. But I want to challenge you to not just think about the short-term benefit of either making more money or getting a full-time job or getting into a stable company, but look at the long-term career path, okay? And we're going to talk about that a little bit more, because I can tell you personally that I work as a managing partner for Proforce. We're a third-party recruiting and staffing company, And we work directly with LG-OSS to help them recruit people. That's why we're doing this. But I started out professionally after high school as a warehouse worker. Seriously, I was throwing boxes in a stockroom. I was on the computer making adjustments to ins and outs. And it was because I did a good job with that, the company recognized me and moved me into other positions. First of all, managing a small warehouse, and then to other things. And that gave me my skills and my experience to go with my education that opened up professional opportunities for me going forward. So like, I'm a poster child for what it means to be dedicated to the job and push through the growth and have long-term opportunities come to you as a result. So, like I said, today I work now for the firm that provides the recruiting support for LG-OSS. So let's talk about LG-OSS. It's a mid-sized company, and there's several hundred employees. They've got a multi-year contract with a major telecommunications company, and they're operating in 12 states. So we're talking about a mid-sized organization, mid-sized with hundreds of employees, that is operating with a pretty large geographic footprint. But it offers not only a stable job, but experience that's very professional and career growth. Okay, we're going to talk about that in more detail in just a second. But also, because the customer that we're supporting is a major global recognized brand. If I told you the name of the company, you'd immediately know who it is. It is super powerful to have a global brand name on your resume. It will be there forever on your resume and it'll open up opportunities for you that you would never have otherwise. So if you're working for a small business or a mom and pop organization, this is a huge professional leap. And I would also add that LG-OSS has professional leadership. The executive team comes from all supply chain organizations and major companies, and they've been in this business for a long time. So they understand how to provide the services that are core to LG-OSS to their clients. Now let's talk a little bit more about the role of the field supervisor. So the operational responsibilities, we'll call this boots on the ground, is administrative. I mean, you're going to have to make sure that time-keeping records for your team members are tight. You'll be scheduling team members based on their duties and responsibilities and assignments, tracking attendance. You're also going to be involved with making sure that we're fulfilling our service level commitments to the customer. And we've got some computer software and some proprietary software that's used for both inventory management and providing supply chain visibility. You're going to see how all that works and be managing the people that are dealing with those software elements every single day. And you may have to jump in and provide some occasional assistance in warehouse operations if necessary. But in a supervisory capacity, we want you to be involved in helping to manage inventory and quality control and making sure that we're compliant with our service level commitments and other compliance requirements. And you're also the team champion. You are the first layer of management over a group of direct reports. And you could have anywhere between 5 and 15 people reporting directly to you in this position. So I would just challenge you, if you haven't seen it already, download the full position profile, because there you're going to see a more complete list, more than we have time to cover here, of all the duties and responsibilities that you can see are part of the work. Now, there's also some driving responsibilities, and that's because in supervising this group of 5 to 15 people, they're going to be at different locations. So you're going to need to drive to the different locations on different days to monitor and manage and audit what's going on. We're going to give you miles to cover your travel. If you ever need car reimbursement, all of that's covered, but probably 25 to 50% of your time, you're traveling around. It's usually within 100 miles because of the geography that'll be assigned to you. And then maybe once a year, there'll be something that looks more like a trip where you're going to be traveling more than 100 miles. That may be to the corporate office in the Dallas, Texas area, or it may be to a regional facility someplace else. But this is part of what you would be doing on a daily basis in servicing the geography. Now, let's talk about the specific geography related to the position for which you are applying. South Dallas-Fort Worth covers an area between Fort Worth and Dallas, all the way down to Cleburne and up to Richland Hills. Okay, so you can see from this map, if you're watching the audio video, it includes locations in Fort Worth, multiple downtown, Richland Hills. Hearst is the home location right there in the Mid-Cities area, and then Granbury and Cleburne to the south. So on the days you're going to be driving down to God's country, it'll be a nice drive, but you just be prepared that those are days that you'll want to schedule your visits. So that is a pretty typical snapshot of what your geographic responsibilities are over all the warehouse or stockroom locations where we've got team members assigned. Now, let's talk about the kind of locations, because if we took you on a tour to visit all those locations, they would all look very different from each other. These are small warehouse stockrooms that are geographically distributed all over the entire United States in order to provide local inventory for technicians that come in and out on a daily basis and restock their trucks and unload their trucks and then head back out into the field to service customers, okay? So some of the locations are actually inside of bigger locations. So there may be, like this illustration here, a stockroom inside of a larger warehouse that's, super clean and secure. But some places may just have a larger stockroom, and it may not be inside of another facility. Other kinds of facilities might be just a mid-sized stockroom where an inventory is mid-sized because it's servicing a smaller geography or a smaller town, smaller community, and that's going to look and feel a little bit different. And there may be something that looks kind of like a storefront or sandwiched in the middle of a commercial area. Some are even stuck in neighborhoods. And so these kind of small facilities offer places where we've got single team members reporting and managing the inventory. Some of the mid-sized field stockrooms are, like I said, in neighborhoods. It could be in a rough part of town. It could be in an upscale part of town. They're literally everywhere. So some of them could be even a little bit rural. Now, these mid-sized stockrooms could be even smaller. They could be in places where they are like micro warehouses almost, even something as small as in a trailer. In these kinds of places are areas where it's more remote. It's a smaller community that's being serviced, yet they're full of stuff and they're secure, and there's a person that's managing all the inventory there. And the technicians that are coming with trucks every day are still moving in and out and providing inventory transport on a daily basis. So these are the kinds of places that you might find your team members working. And some of I'll call them like micro stock rooms, are very, very small. But again, they are providing all the resources that the technicians need to fully outfit their trucks for servicing. Now, in this position, the rate that we're paying is $15 to $17 an hour. We know you can go someplace and get $22 an hour or $20 an hour or whatever it is. We know that. But this isn't a dead-end job. This is a career path that is going to get you experience, software knowledge, supply chain knowledge, inventory management knowledge, supervisory experience. It's going to be a step in a career path that's going to lead you to a much better place. So I would also tell you that if overtime is ever needed, you're eligible for the time and a half. And we also provide raises after 60 days and then on an annual basis at review time. Now, there's also a rich benefit package that is, worth something in addition to the base pay. There's a 401k with up to 4% match on that. There's paid holidays, paid sick leave. We've got all the insurances, health insurance, life insurance, short-term disability, and we even have the cell phone allowance, $14 per pay period. We have a referral bonus program if you refer somebody to the company as a future employee. So again, I would just suggest that you download the position profile and the total rewards overview, because that document is going to give you a lot. I mean, there's pages and pages of information related just to the benefits and the culture. So I would argue that the money's okay, the benefits are very good, but the professional training and development is priceless. And for the right person, this is a ticket to a career. So you're going to experience paid training, software knowledge and experience, process-related experience, supply chain management, industry best practices. These are all things that you're going to have on your resume as a result of the training you're going to receive here and your overall responsibilities. And again, because you're talking about servicing a globally recognized brand name, your resume is going to look great after a year or two. And you have the internal potential to stay here and advance to other roles within the organization. We have compliance roles, quality control positions, and we even have district management that is supervising a larger geography of multiple supervisors like yourself. So let's now real quick talk about what's required to get through the process, because if this is interesting to you and you're still listening, which I hope you are, then we want to tell you what's next. So we got to go through a background check and some licensing requirements. That means we got to do a drug check. We've got to do a background check on you. We're looking for certain kinds of things, things like theft, felonies are going to be disqualifiers. You got to have a valid driver's license. You have to have legit insurance, and you have to have a car. I mean, obviously, you can't be taking public transportation to all these different locations as a supervisor. So you've got to have those things. And then also, there's some core skills that you also have to have. Like if you're not using a smartphone, that's going to be a problem. You need to be really comfortable with smartphone apps, because we've got software that's loaded onto the phones that's connected to our legacy enterprise software. You also need to be familiar with Microsoft Office. So that's Excel and Word documents. And you have to have the basic core experience with prior inventory management. Now, for someone like yourself, we want you to have also supervisory or leadership experience. Now, this always begs the question, what if I have supervisory experience in retail and I have warehouse experience as an individual on a team? So you've never been a supervisor in a warehouse environment. Those were two separate experiences. Okay, tell us. Like I said, we're going to give you a way to give us some feedback. We want to know. Explain that to us. Don't be shy about it. Tell us, look, you've got the supervisory experience from this job over here, and you've got the inventory management experience and the warehouse operations experience from this other job over here. Let us know. Maybe you've never been an official supervisor, but you were a team lead. Let us know. There's a lot of folks that they have been responsible for the work. They feel like they're the supervisor, but they've never been responsible for hiring and firing and performance feedback. Tell us, give us a better picture of what your responsibilities were as a leader, and then we can figure out how that fits in. So here's the process. Once you have listened to this, you're given a link to complete a pre-interview questionnaire. That's your chance to give us some great additional information about yourself. We're going to read all that stuff, so don't be shy. Once we get that, we have the option of going to interview as next step. And there's a couple interviews with internal team members that are going to be scheduled. And then if you get a conditional offer, that means you get a job offer conditionally on making sure that you pass all the background check and the drug tests. That's the next step. And then formal onboarding, and then you're given to the field team for training and deployment. So not too unusual. But your next step is really to focus on completing that pre-interview questionnaire. And again, that's a complement to your resume. We already have your resume, but we want additional information. And this is going to be reviewed by not only one of our recruiting team members, but also the hiring team. So take your time on that. Don't just like submit it really quick because you're trying to get, into the review process. No, take your time. I mean, give it some hours or a day and make sure you get that right, because we're going to give that a lot of attention. Okay, so thank you so much for listening to all this. Really, really appreciate your time. And your next step is to complete the questionnaire. And we have a promise to you. And that is, we want everyone that has gone through this process, whether they get the job with us or not, to have a great experience and a positive outcome. So we promise to give you access to some resources that will help you with your resume and interviewing, so that you can find the best place for you, whether it's here or someplace else. And that's a way for us to just say thank you to you for your time. And we will do that as we go through the process. We'll make sure you get access to those resources. Okay, again, my name is Mark. Thank you so much for listening to this. We're looking forward to seeing the information coming back from you on the pre-interview questionnaire, and look forward to next steps. All right, thank you again.